Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with the next part of What If Naruto A Mother's Love. I have already uploaded the next part of What If Naruto was separated from his family. You can check that out if you haven't. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel as well if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue with our story. They arrived in Wave Country in a small boat. Despite now being on a serious mission, Naruto was loving it. He found he really enjoyed traveling and seeing new things. He had never been outside of Fire Country, never been on a boat before, never seen the ocean before. This mission was just one new experience after another. Once they had landed, they began the walk towards Tazuna's home. Kakashi gathered his team together around him before they set off. He spoke quietly so as not to alarm Tazuna. It's extremely likely we'll be attacked again on the way to Tazuna's home. We can also expect the attack or the next attack to be much more serious than the previous one. Kiba and Hinata, I want you to use your abilities to keep a careful watch out of any surprises. They both nodded. Naruto, I want you to stay right beside Tazuna the entire time. Even if we are attacked, his safety is your responsibility. Understood? Naruto nodded. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. Damn, it's going to take me a while to get used to that. Remember, an attack may come at any time from any direction. Stay alert and be ready for attack and anything. On that cheerful note, they headed out. Kiba and Hinata walked up front while Kakashi was the rear guard. Naruto walked beside Tazuna. You know, I never thanked you for speaking up, for continuing to help me. I don't think your sensei would have agreed if you hadn't. I really do appreciate it. Naruto smiled at him. You are very welcome. I happen to believe that people with power should try to help others. What this Gato has done is despicable and needs to be stopped. Tazuna eyed the boy carefully. You know, you seem like a very fine young man. Talking to you, I can tell you have a good heart. Naruto nodded. Thanks, old man. Tazuna hesitated to continue. Tell me, though, how can someone like you easily kill somebody? I saw what you did with your sword, and once it was done, you didn't seem to care. Naruto sent the old man a serious look. Once he was dead, I didn't care about him. I hit the target and looked for the other targets. Tazuna stared. His mouth was a bit dry, and he wished he had a beer with him. How can you be so idealistic one moment and so cold-blooded the next? Naruto gave him a simple grin. Simple. I'm a ninja. Tazuna didn't ask any more questions. 10 minutes later, Kiba picked something up on the wind. He immediately put a fist up, signaling a halt. Kakashi was by his side, and they were talking quietly. Naruto remained by Tazuna. I got 2 cents. They're both still faint, maybe a mile or so up ahead. Kiba explained, whoever they are, they didn't use this road to get there. None from this direction, at least. Kakashi nodded. Hinata? Hinata nodded, understanding. Byakugan. With her bloodline, she began searching ahead of them. It took her a moment to spot them. I found them. There are 2 of them standing in a tree talking. One of them is an adult who have bandages over his mouth and a huge sword on his back. The other one is a smaller, probably near our age, and wearing a mask like a hunter nin. They're both definitely ninjas, and they seem to be mist-nins. Kakashi nodded and was very glad of his team's ability. Are there any other ninjas in the area? Hinata searched for another couple minutes. No, just these 2. Alright, come with me. He led them to where Tazuna and Naruto were waiting. There looks to be an ambush laying up ahead. Tazuna, you need to be ready in case you have to run. Naruto, whatever happens, stay with Tazuna. Naruto nodded. If we know they're waiting for us, why are we continuing up the road? Tazuna asked. Kakashi smiled. Simple, because even if we avoid them, they aren't going to simply go away. If we can sneak you past them, they will still remain a threat and might attack us later when we aren't ready for it. The best option is to eliminate the threat now. Alright, but why do I have to come with you? Tazuna asked and whined. Because I'm not splitting my squad up with an enemy territory facing an unknown force. Kakashi shrugged. If you feel safe waiting here for us while we fight, that's fine. But if some thug shows up looking for you, you're on your own. You know, you're not very good at setting a man's mind at ease. My job is to protect you, not to make you feel comfortable. So don't you want to come with us or wait here? Tell us, Tazuna. Tazuna sighed. It was no fun having to choose the lesser evil. I'll come with you then, fine. Link break. Zabuza was well hiding as the party came around and bent in the road. He quickly looked them over. His first impression was that the demon brothers were highly overrated. They'd been beaten by a single ninja and 3 children. Haku was a special exception, but then he took a closer look at the one real ninja. Well, I'll be, he whispered. Kakashi of the Sharingan Eye. His opinion of the demon brothers was retorted. for whatever it was worth. Haku? Yes, Zabuza-sama, the boy answered in a low whisper. This enemy is more dangerous than any you have ever faced. I want you to remain hidden. Do you understand? He bowed his masked head. Yes, sir. Beneath the bandage, Zabuza smiled. Watch closely. This should be quite an interesting fight. Pulling out his massive blade, he got ready. Link break. Everyone, take cover! Kakashi shouted as a huge blade came spinning through the air. Everyone ducked and Naruto pushed Tazuna down to the ground. When they looked up, the blade was embedded in the trunk of a tree, and standing on the blade cumbersome handle was a ninja. Kakashi recognized him immediately, as did Naruto from the bingo book. Well, if it isn't Momochi Zabuza, the kid who ran off and left the land of mist. Heh, always good to be so famous. Kakashi the copy ninja. If it would be too much trouble, could you hand over the old man? Sorry, I can't do that. He pulled up his hitate to reveal his Sharingan eye. Didn't think you would. Just common courtesy of a fellow professional. But if you won't hand him over to me, that means I'll have to kill you. Grabbing his sword, he disappeared. Manji, battle formation, protect Tazuna. This enemy is a whole other level than anything you have faced before. The three gunners formed a triangle around their client. Naruto had his sword out. Kiba a kunai, with Hinata preferred to wait in her fighting stance without a weapon. As they all watched, a thick fog rose up all around them. All of you kept alert. Zabuza is master of the silent killing. Letting your guard down around him means on a way trip to the next life. As the fog thickened, an amused voice seemed to call out from all directions. There are 8 targets: throat, spinal column, lungs, liver, the jugular vein, the subclavian artery, heart, and kidney. So many choices. What vital, vulnerable places shall I choose? And then, without warning, he landed in the middle of the formation. Before Kakashi or any of the others could act, he swung his sword and nearly cut into Tazuna's neck, only to have him disappear in a puff of smoke. What? The three genin launched themselves at him without concern. Being so close, they were able to get a hold of his arms and delay his movement just in time. Suddenly, half a dozen kunais came out of the bushes and struck Zabuza in the chest. His form immediately became water and splashed down to the ground. Somewhere from the trees above, 4 senbos came down and struck each of the ninjas. Still there, he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Link break. Damn it, Kakashi muttered softly. I knew it wouldn't be so easily done. As soon as I saw who it was, they were momentarily in a stalemate, as both his teams and Zabuza and his partner were hidden. But he had an ace to play. Hinata? She pointed to a tree about 50 yards away. They are both up there, she whispered. He nodded and turned to Naruto. Can you make me about 20 shadow clones? Naruto nodded and performed the jutsu. Team 7 had some truly incredible assets: Byakugan, Shadow Clones, Sharingan, Rasengan, Chidori, summonings, frogs and toads, and dogs, and tracking abilities. Kakashi began to realize that this squad had the potential to not just be good but truly great, maybe even legendary, but first they needed to survive this fight. He hadn't exposed his Sharingan yet. He knew very well the strict limit of his own body when he was using it. He lifted his Hitate and exposed it now. Time to put an end to this fight and to the Demon of the Mist. Link break. He is good. His team was never even exposed, Zabuza said softly. Zabuza-sama, I do not believe I have ever heard you speak of someone with such respect before. Haku said. Kakashi is an enemy that deserves to be respected. And so he watched 20 clones of the same blonde ninja launch themselves out of the bushes towards their hiding spot. Stay hidden. Zabuza leapt away towards the nearby river, thinking it would be the spot to give him the greatest advantage. For his hiding spot, Haku watched carefully, along with the same clones of the blonde boy. He saw Kakashi, the girl, and the dark-haired boy emerged and close in on Zabuza. As he was quickly dispatched the clones, Haku noted that their target had not appeared. Could he be in those bushes where they were hidden? Tazuna was fated to die, for that was the will of Zabuza-sama, but no one else had to. If Tazuna died right now, Zabuza would break off and end to the battle. Zabuza was not one for unnecessary risks once the mission was accomplished. Haku decided to go ahead and take a look in the bushes with a hand sign teleport. Link break. There was too much vegetation between where they were and the river for either Naruto or Zabuza or Tazuna to get a good look at the battle. But Naruto had other ways of knowing what was going on. Damn, Naruto muttered beneath his breath. He really is good. But can you see something? Tazuna asked worriedly. In a way, when my clones are destroyed, I get their memories, and the last one of my clones just got wiped out. I managed to do him a little damage, but now it's up to Kakashi and his others. Then he felt a chakra signature right above him. Get down. Naruto leapt out into the surprised thousand and pushed him to the ground. As he did so, he was struck by a dozen sandbones and had been aimed at the bridge builder. Most hit his back and simply bounced off his body armor. A scalpel hit his unprotected arms and sunk in. The pain was minor, and then he didn't show his reaction time any. He reached into a pouch and quickly tossed some kunais where he thought the signature was. A ninja leapt out of the tree and landed about 30 yards away. From the size of him, Naruto guessed he was a kid as well. He had a mask that covered his whole face and held three symbols on each hand. Naruto was swiftly back on his feet with his sword out and standing in front of Tazuna, in line between him and his army. Stay down. I will protect you with my life. Tazuna did exactly as he told. You are quite skilled to have blocked my attack. As you did was not easy feat. Polite and severe, serene voice spoke. Thanks. Naruto kept his sword ready and waited. Are you going to come on in and fight me? No. Haku fired off. The six senbons in hand. Seeing where they were coming from, Naruto seemed to have no difficulty in blocking them with his sword. You are very skilled. Thank you, but if you want to really see what I can do with the sword, why don't you come a bit closer? I think not. Given the fact you wear a sword, you are almost certainly a close combat specialist, or as in a master. I likely would be no match for you in the close quarters. Fortunately, I do not need to get near you to fight you. Not a smile, neither do I. With a quick motion, he drove his sword into the soft earth to free up his hands. Shadow clone technique. The instant the jutsu was done, he snatched his sword back up. Against 50 clones came into existence. At that moment, Naruto suddenly realized something. None of his clones had a sword. When he performed the jutsu, his sword hadn't been in his possession. So, of course, the clones had been created with nothing more lethal than kunai on them. He never thought that in the heat of a battle, once his sword was drawn, he couldn't have time to reholster it in order to perform jutsu. If he had blood on it, of course. He made a mental note to talk to his mom about getting a wakizashi. In any cases, the clones all took out kunai and launched themselves as the enemy. Naruto's opponent never even bothered to take a step. He calmly stood there and tossed senbons and the clones. They were all destroyed before they could even get close. Well, that was a waste, he muttered. He nodded grudgingly and even lifted his sword in a quick salute. You know, you're pretty damn good too. I thank you. Haku spoke with sincerity. You are not my enemy, and I do not speak to kill you. Just as Zabuza-sama does not desire to kill your teammate, but the bridge builder must die. Well, the only way you're killing him is by killing me first, I see. Haku said calmly. Naruto stood there and waited. His opponent also seemed to be feeling patient. Naruto considered how far he was and estimated the distance to be 20 yards. I could cover that in one leap, but he's just standing there, like he wants me to rush in. If I do rush him, is there any way he could get to Tazuna before I reach him? Kakashi's instruction had been for him to remain at Tazuna's side and protect him, no matter what. Naruto grimaced and decided he would do just that. Haku eyes his opponent with disappointment, hidden by the mask. It seems the blonde ninja was not going to attack him directly and give him an opening to use his teleportation jutsu. Unfortunately, his only method of long-range attack was senbons, and his foe seemed able to deal with those. We are in stalemate. We cannot reach each other. He cannot reach me to use his sword, but neither can I get past him to the target as long as he remains where he is. They remained as they were about a minute or so. The situation was finally resolved when they heard a loud shout. Zabuza-sama! Haku performed his teleportation jutsu and disappeared. Link break, water style, water dragon missile. Kakashi and Zabuza both cried out in the same instant, unleashing a pair of gigantic dragons to leap out of the river and swiftly annihilating each other. Damn it, Zabuza muttered. This wasn't going well. To begin with, he had a few wounds on his chest and back from those damn clones and their damn swords. After that, he had to deal with Kakashi, who seemed able to read his mind. He had two of his brats on the river bank watching him and backing him up, but staying out of his fight. Kakashi was the real problem though. He seemed able to read my mind, Kakashi said. What? That's impossible. Curse him, he's got that sickening evil look in his eye, right? Shut up, you damn parrot. Zabuza began forming a new jutsu, but as he did so, he seemed to see an illusion of himself standing at Kakashi's side. What the? Zabuza hesitated. Kakashi did not. Water style, giant waterfall technique. Zabuza cried out as he was caught up in the gigantic cyclone of water and tossed about like a leaf in a storm. He was finally slammed hard into a tree and collapsed to the ground, his back to the tree. Looking up, he saw Kakashi land in a tree limb just above him. You can see the future? Kakashi drew out of Kuna and nodded grimly. Yes, what I can see is you're dead. Kakashi, behind you, Hinata cried out. Kakashi leapt away just in time to avoid some sandbombs before Hinata or Kiba could do anything. Zabuza's partner landed at his side, grabbing a hold of him. The new arrival performed a hand seal and they were both gone in a second. Damn it, it was so close. Kakashi-sensei, what can we do? Hinata asked as both she and Kiba arrived at the scene. There's nothing we can do now, but about Zabuza, let's just go back to Naruto and Tazuna. Link break. They found Tazuna a bit shaken, but otherwise unharmed. Naruto quickly related what happened to him. You did a good job, Naruto. You did exactly what I told you to do. He looked at Kiba and Hinata. You have all done a wonderful job, and I am very proud of you. With that, he yawned and then collapsed, being caught by Naruto before he hit the ground. Kakashi! Naruto laid him on the ground. Hinata-chan, can you help? She quickly knelt down beside him and performed a diagnostic jutsu. What's wrong with him? Kiba asked worriedly. His vitals are strong, Hinata said in relief. He seemed to just be suffering from physical exhaustion. It's the Sharingan, Naruto said with certainty. Kakashi has told me that because he lacks an Uchiha's body, he can only use his Sharingan for so long before it exhausts himself. Naruto frowned. Zabuza must have pushed him too hard. He'll be fine, he just needs some rest. He looked at their client. Tazuna, how far is it to your house? About 5 miles. Naruto nodded. Okay, we'll get there in 5 minutes. Tazuna laughed a bit. It felt good to laugh after being terrified. Maybe we can get in there in an hour. Without much thought, he cut open his palm, wiped off his blood, and holstered his sword. We're getting there in 5 minutes. Naruto used a tone that said nothing was up for debate. No, more walking or leaping the rest of the way. Kiba and Hinata nodded. Leaping? What are you talking about? Tazuna nodded and asked. Naruto performed his jutsu and 4 clones came to life. With Kakashi out of action, I'm leading Team 7. And right now, I think our best course of action is to get your house and set up a base camp as fast as possible. So I'll use my clones to carry you and Kakashi as we leap through the forest. Through the trees, 2 of his clones took a hold of Tazuna. Hey, I'm fine with walking. As one, they all leapt into the air. Ah! Tazuna screamed. Link break. Kakashi opened his eye. He was inside somewhere on the floor underneath some blankets. Are you alright, teacher? Kakashi looked up to see a very attractive woman in her 20s with dark hair. I'm fine, he replied weakly. I'm Kakashi, by the way, and you are? I'm Tazunami, Tazuna's daughter. My father was feeling a bit ill when you all arrived, but he's alive and in one piece. He has told me everything that has happened, and I know I owe his life to you and your students. She bowed to him. Please accept my deepest thanks. We are very happy to help. But can you tell me where my students are now? I am right here, Kakashi-sensei. A friendly face came into view. Naruto-kun and Kiba-kun are in the next room, getting something to eat. Are you hungry? Yes, Hinata. I'm actually, but first, could you bring the boys in here? Hi. In short order, his 3 students were all kneeling around him. What's the situation? Kakashi asked. Naruto answered. Well, I have 4 of my clones acting as a guard outside the house. Hinata-chan has searched the area for 1 mile radius and found nothing. Kiba went on a patrol with a couple of his clones and my clones to back him up. He found nothing suspicious and no other scents for 3 miles. So for right now, I think we're secure. I'll keep some clones to watch all night. Kakashi nodded slightly. Good job, Naruto. It will probably take me about a week to recover my strength. You'll in charge until then, right, Kakashi? Sensei, what do you want us to do? Well, since you all know the tree climbing and water walking exercises, there are really no special training I can give you. Well, I'm bedridden. Keep Tazuna safe at all costs and try to get in some training when time allows. Kakashi-sensei, Hinata spoke. What about Tazuna and Zabuza and his partner? Zabuza was a pretty hard hitter. And he was hit pretty hard by my last jutsu as well, though. I'm guessing he's going to need some time to recover as well. If he does show up before I'm ready, the most important thing to remember is that for Shinobi, the one thing important above all is teamwork. That is where your greatest strength lies. And as one, they all nodded. Link break. Haku was sitting by Zabuza besides as the door opened. In walked a greasy little man with a pair of samurais who were trying to look mean. I wonder if they understand I could easily kill them. You got some nerve showing your face again after such a miserable failure, Demon of the Mist. Ha! That's a joke. He signaled for his bodyguards to wait and approached Zabuza's bed. Nothing to say for yourself. He reached for Zabuza's face. Instantly, Haku had the man's wrist in his fist and began crushing it. Don't defile Zabuza-sama with your touch. Ugh! Gato screamed in fear. How dare you! Gato's samurais began to draw his sword, but before they could even pull them out, they found Haku standing before them holding their own swords a bare inch from their necks. Don't want to do that right now, he hissed. I am in a very bad mood. Gato gripped his throat and broken wrist. You'll pay for this, you little bastard. He was furious but was intelligent enough to understand he was not in a strong position at the moment. For one of the very few times in his life, Gato decided retreat was in order. Alright, you can have one more chance, but if you fail again, don't come back. I understand. Haku returned his swords to their helpless owners. We will not fail you. His politeness only rubbed salt on Gato's wounds. He and his samurai quickly departed. Haku returned to his seat by Zabuza's side. That was not necessary. Zabuza spoke in a strained voice. In his hand beneath the cover was a kunai. I could have dealt with him. I know, Zabuza-sama, but had you done so, we might have found ourselves on the run again from them. Zabuza sighed. True. Let us be patient for just a little while. Yes. Zabuza agreed, but only for a little while. As they sat around talking, a small boy walked in and hurried over to Tazuna. Are you okay, Grandpa? I was afraid I was never going to see you again. Tazuna smiled and gave the little boy a hug. I am fine, Inari. He turned to where the ninja were watching them. Everyone, this is my grandson, Inari. Inari, the fellow lying down, is Kakashi, and this is Naruto, Kiba, and Hinata. He smiled at the boy. The brave ninja who protected me, and they're going to help me finish the bridge and get rid of the Gato. The boy looked past his grandfather at the stranger with a real interest. You're here to fight Gato? The boy with blonde hair smiled at him and nodded. That's right. We've sworn to protect your grandfather from any bad men who might want to hurt him. In fact, I'd like to think we're being just a little heroic. Naruto thought of his father. The boy sent him a hurt look and suddenly seemed on the verge of tears. You are indeed it. The boy shouted. You're all gonna die. Don't you know there's no such thing as heroes? The boy immediately fled. Hey, you twerp! Kiba shouted. Kiba, be nice. He's just a little boy. Hinata scolded. Inari, come back and apologize to our guest. Tazunimi called for her son. Tazuna looked at the guest. I am very sorry about that. Please forgive my grandson's rude behavior. There are reasons. Naruto shrugged. No problem. He stood up. Please excuse me. He wanted to find the boy and try to reassure him that they had not come all this way to simply die. He went to the second floor and found a door with a small carving on it that said Inari. He was about to knock when he heard sobs. Daddy. A broken cry came from the other side of the door. Naruto paused. He then slowly turned around and went back downstairs. Link break. The next day, Kiba and Hinata came to a halt on some tree branches a couple of miles from the Townsend house. Kiba had put a trickle of chakra onto his nose, which gave him 100 times better sense of smell. Anything? Hinata asked, a little nervous, but Kiba shook his head. Nothing at all. So far, the morning patrols looks like a piece of cake and a walk, or you can say that. I hope things stay quiet like that, Hinata said softly. Ha, not a chance, Kiba said eagerly. We'll definitely have a fight again sooner or later. And next time, I'm sure we won't just be watching. You really want to fight? She asked. Kiba looked at her in surprise. Don't you? It was then that the radio communicator hissed out live. This is the blonde boy to dog boy and pretty girl. What's your status? Kiba switched his communicator to this send. We're wrapping up the morning patrol. We haven't found anything, blonde boy. How are things at your end? The bridge is quiet. I've actually got 100 of my clones running around helping the construction. Kiba laughed. Are they all making minimum wages? Now the laughter came back on the comm. No, alternate my labor. Say, blonde boy. When we get back, thanks your mom for getting us these radios, communicator. I know they're not standard equipment, and I know they're expensive. Well, yeah. When it comes to protecting my Kazan, has never been on the scrimp. I should tell you how much custom-made body armor cost some time, alright? If there is anything at all, contact me. Blonde boy out. Roger that. Dog boy out too. Kiba smiled at Hinata. Come on, let's finish the patrol and get some lunch. Hinata followed quietly behind her teammate. The day passed quietly for both parts of Team 7. Link break. The next morning, before sunrise, Naruto left the Tazuna home. He hadn't worked the sword in a week and wanted to get in a couple of hours of practice before breakfast. The only ones awake as he left were the clones who were guarding the house. They would inform everyone that he was doing and when he back. What he was doing and when he's back. And of course, he had his radio communicator on. Link break. Haku got his basket and quietly exited the building. Zabuza was sleeping soundly. He would go find the herbs he needed to brew up the medical tea. Zabuza hated the taste but always drank it. It was like pre-dawn. Hopefully he could find what he needed and Be back before Zabuza awoke. Link break. As Haku was busy gathering up the roots and grasses, he needed he spotted a white carnation. He smiled, and even though it was silly, he plucked it and put it in his hair. He knew it was childish, but he liked it. As he stood up, he heard someone grunting not too far away. It was almost dawn, and the sky was light enough to see without any problem. Being a bit curious and certainly not being afraid, he decided to investigate. He came upon a clearing, and there was the blonde in the red and black body suit working his sword. Haku simply stood still at the edge of the clearing and watched. As the blade slashed and jabbed through the air, Haku noticed the beautiful footwork and the graces of movement. He compared it to how his master trained. Zabuza's sword work was all straightforward slices and attacks. They were brutally effective but hardly what anyone would call graceful. But then again, given the massive size of this blade, many of the blonde's moves would have been impractical or even impossible. Haku was aware that the proper course of action would have been to quickly withdraw, yet he was entranced by the beauty of what he saw. It was like watching a wonderful ballet or theater performance. One simply wanted to stand there and admire the artistry. After about 5 minutes, the ninja finally came to a halt in the middle of the clearing. He seemed to be breathing heavily. His back was turned, but Haku could notice the blonde had the sword resting on the shoulder. "Hello," Naruto called out. He slowly turned around so he could see the stranger face standing there at the edge of the woods. "I was wondering if you would introduce yourself, since you haven't allowed me to introduce myself." He gave a polite bow. "I'm Naruto, a ninja from Konohagakure." "Oh, I apologize, but I don't want to disturb you." Haku took a couple steps forward into the clearing. He too bowed. "I am Haku, and I am originally from a small village in the water country." Naruto smiled. "Well, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, Haku, but except for my mom and my girlfriend, you're the prettiest girl I've ever seen." Haku smiled. "Well, thank you, but I think you should know I'm a boy." "What?" Haku tilted his head and grinned. "Do you require proof?" "No." Naruto began to blush. "No way. He's like miles pretty than Ino." Haku then had a huge laugh. "I do apologize for disturbing you. To be quite honest, I thought your training was simply beautiful and wanted to watch. It almost reminded me of ballet." Naruto simply smiled and tried to get over this embarrassment. "Well, thank you for the forms are actually called dances. There are 5 of them. The one I was just doing was called the Dance of the Lilies." I had never heard of that. It was true Zabuza had never mentioned such a fact. "You are obviously very skilled with your blade. Tell me, why are you out here all alone so early in the morning?" "Well, to keep my skills sharp, so to keep improving. I'm pretty good now, but I'm not blade master like my mom." "Really? How far along are you?" "Well, there are 5 levels of skills to be blade. I am only at the second, so I still have a long way to go." Haku gave him a curious look. "Tell me, why do you work so hard?" "What do you mean? I was just wondering. You mentioned your mother and your girlfriend. Do you work so hard for their sakes or the sakes of others who are precious to you? Or do you do so for your own satisfaction?" Naruto smiled, one of his biggest smiles. "Everything. I do this for people that I love. For my mother, my girlfriend, my older brother, my godmother, my aunt, my granddad, my friends, and for every single person in my village. They all are precious to me. My dream is to become Hokage one day. That is what we call our supreme leader. I want to be Hokage so that I can always watch over and protect everyone." Haku couldn't help but compare that to Zabuza's dream. He also wanted to rule his homeland, but not so he could help the others. He lusted for power, the way some men lusted for younger flesh, or the way Gato lusted for money. "I can understand that, working so hard for those who are precious to you." Haku sent him a look tinged with real jealousy. "You are truly fortunate, Naruto, to have so many precious people in your life. For me, there is only one person, but he is more precious to me than anything. I would do anything for his sake. You know, I truly believe that when people are protecting something precious to them, they can truly become as strong as they need to be." Naruto nodded. "That is very true indeed." Haku nodded. "Well, if you will excuse me, I really must be going on my way home now." He paused. "It was really a pleasure to meet you, Naruto. Please do not find this rude, but I sincerely hope we do not meet again." He turned to go. "Though I fear we will." As Haku began to leave, Naruto spoke again in casual tone. "You know, Haku, I managed to develop some very keen senses." Haku halted, looked back over his shoulder. "Really?" Naruto nodded. His sword was still in his hand, resting against his shoulder. "Yes, for instance, I can tell that, even though you are not molding chakra at the moment, that you have the ability to do so. More to the point, I recognize your chakra signature as that we fought a ninja a few days ago." Haku slowly turned around to face him. Naruto simply stood where he was calmly eyeing him. I see. Haku tilted his head and eyed him curiously. Are you going to attack me? No. Why not? I'm currently unarmed. Were you to attack me, you would have been an excellent chance of killing me. Naruto shook his head. I don't kill unless I have to. Were this battle, or had my mission goal been to kill you, I would have done so. But at this moment, we are not in a battle, and my mission is to protect Tazuna, not to kill anyone. You said before that we are not enemies. Well, I agree with you. Other ninjas would not feel that way. Haku said quietly, like Zabuza? Haku nodded. He would not pass up the opportunity to remove an obstacle to get his goal. Well, fortunately, I have different role models. My mom and my older brother, and my dad. I do what I have to, but I don't fight for kill needlessly. He sighed. You know, if you and Zabuza let it, would be over. Haku shook his head. I'm afraid that is quite impossible. For Zabuza-sama, failing or declining this mission is not an option. Why? Because the reward will help him to achieve his dream. Naruto shook his head. Even though it seems we are bound to face one another again, I still won't attack you unless you attack me first. With that, he put his sword back into his scabbard, as it had been drawn from training rather than battle. There was no need for blood. You are very honorable, Naruto. Haku looked very sad. If things were different, I would very much likely to call you my friend. Naruto looked at the boy curiously and consideringly. You're obviously very honorable as well. Why do you show Zabuza such loyalty? I read about him in the bingo book. I know he butchered an entire class of students at his academy. I know he tried to overthrow his government and became a missing nin. He's a cold-hearted mercenary. How does someone like that get such loyalty? Do not speak of Zabuza that way, he asked. He's my one and only precious person, and suddenly Haku wanted no need for Naruto to understand. Once I was precious, for I belonged to my parents. I was born in a snowy little village in the land of water. I was happy. My parents were good, kind people. But just as I was getting old enough to really notice the world around me, something happened. What? Naruto felt entranced. Blood. My blood. Haku spoke sadly. What are you talking about? My father killed my mother and tried to kill me. Haku said matter of factly. Naruto gasped and simply stared at the boy. Why? Naruto choked out. The land had seen generations of non-stop warfare. Among it, people those who possess Kagegenkai skills that come out of our genetic inheritance are loathed abominations. Haku continued in a calm tone. The Kagegenkai refers to clan whose bloodlines give them powers like mine, inherited skills that were exploited and twisted, used to cause horrible slaughter, until we ceased to be looked on as warriors or even weapons, but were condemned as the harbingers of doom. After the war were over, we who possessed the triads were hunted, only able to survive by hiding the existence of our skills and our bloodline away. Exposure meant certain death. We were special, we were powerful, and we were feared. My father learned that my mother came from such a clan, and before I even realized that I was about to do, I killed him. Haku paused for a good bit. Naruto thought he had revealed all that he had meant to, but in a weary voice, the boy continued, and then I knew what I was. It was the most painful thing, and I was forced to accept it. What? Naruto couldn't help but feel the boy's pain, that I was alone in this world. Superfluous, unwanted, shunned. I was all alone, and I knew that if I died, no one would care for me or even notice. Haku paused again, and tears fell from his eyes. That's when Zabuza-sama found me. He adopted me, even knowing of my Kagegenkai. The very thing that others hated me for, he not only accepted but cherished me and wanted. Haku smiled as his tears fell. I was so happy. I was needed. I was wanted. I had someone precious to me, and I was going to give everything for him. I'm sure you don't understand my pain, Naruto. What it's like to be all alone and hated for something you were born with. But that is what I endured, and that is the hell that Zabuza-sama rescued me from, and that is why I would die for him. And so gladly, so long as it helped him. Naruto slowly nodded. It's true that I don't know what it's like to be all alone. For a long time, the people who cared for me were few, but I was always loved and always wanted. But Haku, I know what it's like to be hated because you were born with a terrible power inside you. You have a Kagegenkai? No. Sealed within me and my body is the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the nine-tailed demon fox spirit. Haku stared at him. My father was the Hokage of the Konoha, and when Kyuubi attacked, he knew the only way to save the village was to trap the Kyuubi within a newborn human child, and that is what my father did. He sacrificed his own life to transfer the demon fox into his newborn son, me. My father saved the village and his beloved. His memory honored, but from the day I was born, my birth. Before have been people in my village who would have gladly murdered me. I survived only because my mother and a few others risked their lives to protect me. Even now, when I walk through the village, some people looked at me with hatred and revulsion. He shook his head. I don't know what it's like to be alone, Haku, but I do know what it's like to be hated for something you had no choice in. He looked at him. By the way, everything I just told you is known to my sensei, but not to my two teammates. I asked you to please keep my secret, as I will keep what you have told me in confidence. If it was a secret, why did you tell me? Haku asked. Because I wanted you to know that I understand. A little, at least. Haku slowly nodded. He reached up and took the flower from his hair. I would like to give this to you. He approached Naruto. Naruto eyed him but did not move. You wanted to give me a flower? He grinned a bit. I did tell you I have a girlfriend, didn't I? I don't like you in that way. Haku grinned as well. You are quite safe, Naruto. I promise I will not try to steal you away from your girlfriend. He stood before him and held out the flower. This is a white carnation. They are supposed to be good luck. Naruto looked at him seriously, considering what is likely coming. Are you aware and sure you want me to wish good luck? Haku nodded. I do. Please accept it. Naruto reached out and took the flower. Thank you. He placed it in one of his pouches. Haku sighed. I have no friends in this world. Other than Zabuza-sama, I have no one. I wish we could have been friends. Naruto held out his right hand. Shake my hand, Haku, and we are friends. Haku looked surprised at this sudden gesture. How can you say that when you know we will have to fight each other? Because Haku, that is the world. How the world is. Sometimes friends must fight each other. Not out of hate, but simply because the causes and people they follow lead to conflict. But even if the sides we are on focus us to combat one another, I would like us to be friends as well. Slowly Haku lifted his hand and placed it in Naruto's outstretched palm. Thank you, my friend. Link break. Naruto watched Haku leave. He wondered what the future held and hoped there was some way he could avoid having to kill someone he considered a friend. His ready communicator sparked to life. Naruto-kun hit the send button. Yes, Hinata-chan? Are you almost done with practice? Breakfast will be ready soon. I'm heading back right now. I'll see you in a bit. It was to me to get back to his team and mission. Link break. Zabuza noted when Haku returned with his basket of sharp-smelling herbs. You're back a bit later than usual. Anything happens? Haku smiled. Nothing at all, Zabuza-sama. Link break. Uchiha Damas looked about the inn. This is the place we were supposed to meet the client, isn't it? Madro nodded. It's the only inn of the White Horse in the village. Damas looked about suspicious at how empty the place was. Have you got a bad feeling about this? I mean, all the way to Rice Country for a C rank and at the price? And who pays up front when they don't have to? Madro smiled. Oh, come on. The price and the upfront payment were because the client insisted that the team included the Uchiha with the Sharingan. Let's face it, you're in high demand. Dama shook his head. Something does not feel right. As spoke a tall, thin man entered his inn common room. Well, hello. Are you two the Chunins who have come to fulfill my request? Both of them rose to their feet. We are, and are you our client? Madro spoke. The man smiled broadly. I am indeed. Now which of you is the Uchiha? Damas frowned. I am, and the tone is not appreciated. The man laughed. My apologies. And suddenly Damas was screaming. He felt dozen kunai slamming into his body. He dropped to the floor, shaking. Looking over, he saw Madros in the same shape. Genjutsu, he choked out. Yes, the client took out a kunai and slammed over to them. He smoothly and neatly sliced open Madros' throat, and Damas could only watch as his friend partner spilled to the floor dead. Why? Who are you? The tall man laughed. I am Orochimaru, the ninja of legend. Orochimaru. It was a struggle just to talk, never mind fight or run. What do you want? Your body. Damas suddenly saw a gigantic snake appear before his eyes just before he began screaming as his soul was torn away. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.